KOD Media presents the #1 late night talk show in the entire metaverse. Covering everything you need to know in the Knights realm. You're watching The Night Shift. And now, your host, Chigaman Porto and Drew Austin.
How hype is our intro video, Drew? I mean, that is exciting, dude.
It's a beautiful intro. It's a beautiful intro.
Right? I mean, I like it a lot. I don't know.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Man, well, dude, today I figured we'd invite the guys over from Footium. Our Creettown team had an amazing second season in beta last week. And I think it's a lot of fun to kind of find out more about the game, talk to the guys, and kind of see where we're at with everything. So we actually lined up. The Footium guys are going to be joining us here for a quick interview. And we were able to actually go in there and pull George Benton, the COO, and Sam Jackson, the community manager. I got to tell you right now, Drew, they're going to make us look really bad in this interview because you know they're coming full-blown accents and all, and no one's going to listen to a word you and I say. I'm just going to point that out now, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they needed to have an accent to not listen to what we have to say, but
True story. Well, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and bring the guys in. Start off here with Sam. Hey, Sam, how's it going?
Hey, Jigger. I'm doing very well. How are you guys doing? That intro blew my mind. Honestly,
All right, we got the approval.
It was so good, yeah. It was amazing. I was so hyped.
Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you making time. We got George backstage too. What's up, George? How you doing?
Hey guys, doing well. I've just put on my to-do list to get Sam on making us a hyped intro as well. So.
Sorry, Sam. First 5 minutes, you already got more work.
You guys need some entrance music, like glass crashing, the whole nine.
Man, so guys, I appreciate you making time to hang out with us. You know, the community is really excited about what we've got going on with Footium. As you know, we love our Creettown team. We like to believe we pretty much got the best fan base in the world, but you know, that's maybe biased, but it's true. It's really true. But kind of want to find out from you, George. I mean, how have things gone with the beta season so far, and kind of talk about the ups and downs and you know, kind of the future of the project. So let's start with the beta.
Even before we jump in there, can you tell us what was the origin story? Because I don't know much about how this whole thing got started.
Yeah, definitely. So I can start with the origin. So Jordan and James, who are the two co-founders of Footium, were both competing in a hackathon, but separately. And Jordan wanted to build this kind of multiplayer football management game. James wanted to sort of practice using smart contracts and basically got put into a team with Jordan, very luckily, or else Footium might not exist. And from there, they sort of riffed and decided to build an NFT-based football management game. And yeah, they participated in the hackathon, got to the final, got onto an accelerator after the hackathon, and from there just kept building it. And I came into contact with the project as I was with the company that ran the accelerator, and then ended up investing in their pre-seed, and just from there kept falling more and more in love with the idea and kind of working with Jordan and James, and eventually decided to join sort of full-time because I ended up working full-time for it, even though I had a proper day job anyway. So that's how I got involved. And then obviously Sam joined in the lead up to that mint process and has been kind of helping, managing the community and partnerships and marketing ever since then. So yeah, that was where Footium came from. And obviously now we're in the kind of beta stages, or just finished the phase 3.5, I think we're calling it. And yeah, it's been good seeing the progress from, especially like the first internal alphas we were testing just as a team, up to now, where you have quite a lot of cool things you can do. There's still a lot to add, but I think even now it's quite an engaging format, and that's a good sign, at least for a game which has a lot more features we intend to add even before launch and even post launch. So it's been really cool having that community feedback from the beta. It is a bit of effort with especially on the dev side, of trying to make sure that it's kind of up all the time and integrating features and fixing bugs. But obviously now we're going to take a sort of short break from the beta seasons to get the new advanced match engine in, and hopefully make a lot more progress on the sort of database and server side as well.
Nice.
So what do you like, I guess, Well, first of all, in terms of the beta, is there any like idea of how many beta seasons? How long the beta will last for? Is the like real game in sight yet, or is it like, are we way out still and we got a lot of product development to do?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, because like the last couple of weeks has really come into the point where you can sort of see what the end or the product at launch is going to be. We have that all sort of mapped out. We've mapped out the attributes and how they affect play styles and all of this. The front end's pretty much entirely designed and is kind of maybe a third to halfway through being developed. So it is all now. This is the first time it's felt like it's almost, you can almost reach out and touch it. I think, yeah, we've always given the deadline of this year, it coming out probably later in the year. And cool. I think it still looks very achievable, especially with the fantastic team we've hired across the board, but in particular, people like Archie, who used to work at Football Manager, Simon, who's a kind of absolute wizard on the design front. So, yeah, it's very much in sight. It's still a few months away, because even though we've planned it all, you still have to implement it, and the development time and testing is one of the main things. So I think the plan with the betas is to kind of, every time we add a new feature or add a kind of full suite of upgrades, to run a beta season, get the feedback on that, make adjustments, add the next features, run a beta season. So I imagine there'll be at least a couple more before the full launch, just because we do want to make sure we're putting out a game that people are going to enjoy, and not just working away at it for 6 months, releasing it, and everyone's like, wow, this is shit.
I hear you.
That's fair.
So Sam, question for you. Like the community, like at least, unless, listen, I only can speak from the Knights of Degen. The Knights of Degen's team seems like a very well-run team. The community's really excited about it. Well, I guess it's a two-part question. One, how did you guys develop awareness and community to begin with? And then B, where are there certain teams that are managing better, some worse? Are there, like, is the response consistent across the community? Like, tell me what you're seeing from team to team.
Yeah, so I'm going to be honest. I think Creettown are probably one of the best. I'm not just saying that because I'm on this, but honestly,
I'm clipping that moment right now. I'm just telling you. All right, timestamp. All right, sorry.
And it's like it's part of the reason as well that I've pushed for more beta and getting more people in the beta. Just because you see all these people creating Twitter accounts for these clubs that are in the metaverse, and you just think, like, where's the possibility going to end with this? Like, maybe one day Creettown are in Division 1 and they do a kit release each year and you get thousands of kit sales. It's like, yeah, it really blows my mind, the possibilities that you could have with a virtual football club. Like, you're already getting fans across the world. I know that there's a guy called Spud in our community. He owns Weld. He has a group of ultras. He doesn't even know who they are. They've just found him and they've decided they're going to follow his team. So yeah, it's amazing to see, especially Crete, because you've been running it really well. You've been hosting the spaces, which is really cool, watch alongs, which I really enjoy. Like, we do the Footium football specials, which we get some of our community and we commentate on the games. We had one last night. Jordan, our co-founder, actually commentated on your nice 7-0 win, which was awesome. But
it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's crazy as well, because obviously I think when we minted these clubs, we didn't really expect. We always knew social media would play a part, but Twitter and social media has kind of become an extension of the game. Like, as soon as you buy a club, you're like, oh, I'm going to go create my Twitter account. I'm going to start making some branding. Going to, like, really start building a heart for my club. And I think, and I think that, like, people always ask us sometimes, oh, why don't you go get IP rights? Why don't you get Manchester United and all this stuff? And I think the way we've done it, personally, I really like it.
I like it better. I think it's better to be able to create your own league and your own IP and your own teams. Like, are you guys thinking about how to build any kind of tooling to support these owners in being more promotional and building community and marketing their own teams? And, like, are there opportunities to, like, sell sponsorships for your teams and things like that? Like, how can we take this to the next level in terms of, at the end of the day, I think the more play to earn opportunities there are where you can actually build, like, a business vertical behind this, I think people are going to get really excited about it. Like, what are your thoughts on that? I don't know, George, maybe you have some, like, insight there.
Yeah, I can maybe take the kind of more sponsorship side, because that's something we really want teams to do, and hopefully something we can enable as well. So probably one of the most obvious areas is with the stadiums, and we're very excited to share all of the sort of new designs we have for stadiums, the way that the upgrades are going to work and the impact they have on the game from a kind of morale perspective, because you have more fans in the stadium, but also just like the flexing that you have the the best material. It looks like super futuristic and is kind of intimidating for your opponents. So I think that side, and having sort of billboards within the stadiums, particularly when we go to kind of more 2D and 3D visualizations of the game simulation, having them outside stadiums, just as like the static club pages, and just teams like generally getting sponsorships for the team as a whole, or kit sponsorships. So even if you don't make a physical kit, you could kind of design a digital one, have Knights of Degen sponsor the Creettown kit, or even another company, and we've seen that a few times. I don't know, Sam, if you want to touch on the first points as well.
Yeah, definitely. Just on that, there was a club, it was called Old C Stanley. They partnered with, I can't remember what it was, but they were called Hex Toys. So they made a kit with Hex Toys on, sold it as an NFT. If you bought the NFT, you got a physical kit, you got the digital kit, and it went towards their transfer budget for the first season, it's really cool. Obviously, you can't get that sponsor in the game yet, but I think eventually will allow a way to like upload something to your kit, which you'll be able to display the sponsor. But yeah, on the first point as well, like export features is something I really want in the game. Like you set your lineup, when you press save, there's an export, so you can export it straight to an image for Twitter. You can export for a banner, export your profile, just everything's so much easier. You make a new sign and export. Just like a really easy way for people to get what's on the game onto their socials.
Nice.
Do you? And I know Jig has been doing some really. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
So we've had 2 beta seasons so far. Is that right?
There's been a few more. I think we started early in the team alpha testing. Okay. So for me, I've had quite a few beta seasons now, and I'm still not the best manager.
All right. Sorry, Drew. What were you gonna say?
No. I was just saying, like, do you guys? Well, first question, and I know the community was really curious about this. So because we won the beta, the beta upgrade, does that count towards anything in the regular game? What do we actually win as winning the beta season? Like, I know everyone's been trying to like get some clarity there.
Yeah, I can talk about it. You get promotion for the next season, so there's no monetary prizes or anything like that for this. But something that we spoke about and got some feedback on was maybe you'll get like a custom bit in your history at the full launch that you got promoted from a beta season, like to show that your club's been through it, tested the early game, early adopters. And I think it's a nice shout out to our beta testers as well.
Okay, but it wouldn't, like, we'll start back at level 6 or whatever we are, Division 6, when the game starts.
Yes, that is correct. I think you're Division 5. Don't hold me on that, but I think you could be.
You can have a look. Sure. But yeah, I think towards the end of the beta as well, we might introduce a few like small money prizes just to test the features around that, and obviously to incentivize people. So hopefully you guys can win some of that. But yeah, at full launch, finishing it kind of well in the league will get you prizes, as well as we're looking into integrating sort of per game prizes as well, at least for the start. So could be some nice.
You guys see this as a PDE, like play to earn, real like game from that perspective? Can you can you kind of talk about like what the play to earn vision is for it?
Yeah, I guess it is play to earn, but it's quite different to a lot of play to earn games that have come before it, just because the emphasis isn't on like how often and how much you can play. It's more, it's a strategy game at heart, really. So you can only play 1 game a day, or maybe cup competitions, so maybe it becomes 2, but generally it's like you can't play more and get more games. You can put more effort into that 1 game a day and try and get better.
Yeah, it's more like win to earn, really, than play to earn.
Yeah, that's an aspect of it. And so the main ways, obviously, from winning prize pools in your league and getting promoted, that will obviously kind of bring financial benefits. There's per game rewards that we're looking to introduce. There's also just the aspect of, if you have a bunch of good academy players, you could sell one of them off and then sign someone who's maybe a bit better now because you're going for promotion, rather than having a youth player that you have to kind of train up to become good. So there's a lot of different ways people kind of want to take it. Someone with loads of money might just come in at the top and buy a bunch of good players. Other people want to start from Division 8, build up an academy, build up a kind of squad of kind of players from their city and bring them up the leagues that way. So I think it's quite cool that people can have different approaches and still have a chance of success.
Do you think players will become stars? Like, I know like Jig has been very big on really kind of bringing attention to our individual players, giving them personalities, like, it coming for post-game interviews, etc. Like, do you think that like these digital characters, these digital players can become stars on their own?
I personally think they can, because some already have. There's a player called Ron Foreman. You probably haven't heard of him, but he basically was on our old website right around our mint, and everyone just thought he looked hilarious. So he's kind of become famous by looking hilarious because he was 18 and he had these massive sideburns and he was completely bald. So he's become like a bit of a cult hero in the community, Ron Foreman. We actually named the beta token Ron after him because he's quite famous. So like if he's got famous before the game's even out and he's not kicked the ball, I think some of these digital players they'll become very famous.
Guys, what I wanted to do is I reached out to our Footium committee member that we've built a whole committee around our Creettown team. He's the captain. He's really gearing it up. He's making sure we all understand tactical changes and all the good stuff we're doing. And I wanted him to come up, ask a couple questions if that's cool with you guys. And, figured get it right from our coach, right? So DJ, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm good. I was out celebrating with the Creettown boys last night after our big promotion.
Yeah, huge win. 7-0 on the final day.
Yeah,
Nice.
2-0 in the first 7 minutes, but it's been a whirlwind. First season was a little bit of a learning curve. Myself, I've been involved in FIFA, Football Manager, all the above, but getting the other guys up to speed and sort of identifying, tactics, strategy, things of that sort. How can we engage the community? It's been fun, and we're 2 seasons in, so we've got a long runway here to take Creettown to Division 1.
Awesome. Now, DJS, I know that some of the committee guys had thought of some questions. I know you had some questions as well. I just want to give you an opportunity, man. If there's specific things you want to know, whether it's to make our Creettown team better or just, hey, I want to talk to George and Sam, why not? Feel free, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll have to ask some of these offline so we can keep our sort of own competitive advantage here.
Fair.
But I think the first thing, in our community Discord chat, we've had some stick with our boy JT. He's a 75 striker. Started the season a bit slow, but great finisher across the board. I think he's the 5th best player in this round of beta. You guys touched to and allude to this advanced match engine, and if you guys can talk through maybe like statistics, whether it's assists or if we can see heat maps where he is or player involvement, chances created, things of that sort. I guess more just like an in-depth dive into how impactful a player is versus his sub off the bench and what we can expect there moving forward.
Yeah, so I'm not a dev, so my understanding is sometimes like limited with the minutiae, but I can give you an overview of sort of the advanced match engine is basically taking every event you can have in a football match, so every touch, pass, cross, free kick, injury, card, and it simulates that, and it simulates it based on the inputs, which is like player attributes, your tactics, the morale, the fitness, etc. So it'll be a lot more advanced than this current match engine. I don't think heat maps will be available in this version. Perhaps that'll be a kind of post-launch feature, more when you have like the 2D simulation as well. But things like pass completion rate, tackle completion rate, interceptions per game, shots on target percentage, all of those statistics will be visible to you as a manager and to others, obviously. And yeah, it'll basically change the way the game is played quite a bit, because that level of detail means you can kind of do a lot more on the tactics side. You can look at both your own team, but also your upcoming opponents, and are they playing a high press? So you want to maybe try and play some direct football, or is it the other way around? So there's a lot more kind of strategy can come into it at that point. And yeah, the main focus at the moment is getting that event by event simulation in the game and working, and then from there we can basically add as many features as you want. You can go as complex as like the existing Football Manager games, or maybe not go as complex because maybe that's a bit too much and it means you can take your whole day doing your lineup. So there's a different range as to what you'd be able to do there, but just having this advanced match engine in allows us that sort of decision as to, okay, we'll keep adding features until people think it's maybe a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? Oh, sorry, just real quick question. What are the most what are the features or product features you guys are most excited about, and what are the product features you hear from the community that are most requested, even if they're far out there? What are some of the concepts you hear about?
I think the most requested feature is the new UI. I don't know if you've seen any screenshots of the new UI, but
no, I'd love to see it. Can you show it?
Yeah, I don't know if we could get it up or anything, but it's in our sneak peeks channel on our Discord. Just have a little look at that, and we share it a little bit every now and again, but yeah, that's what people see a bit of that and like, I want to play with that now. So like, I'd say I had a lot of feedback calls after the beta, and it was always, I want to play with that new UI now. There's obviously a lot of people asking about like 2D simulation and stuff, but yeah, it's always for me, new UI and advanced match engine, and they'll be very happy.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact that the current UI is like kind of old school and not very detailed. And it was basically because in the original sort of team of 6, there wasn't a front-end developer or designer as such. So it was basically functional rather than a good user experience. And now we have like a full design team and front-end team working on that. So it's gone from like being down here to being really high. So that's probably why there's such a huge kind of desire for it, because people see these sneak peeks and it's just that much better than the current one. I'd say,
and sorry,
tactics is probably my most excited one.
Which one? I'm sorry.
So like advanced tactics, so you can choose how pressing you want your defense to be, how direct you want. So I will be playing 4-4-2, big striker, small striker, long ball. It's going to be great.
And do you guys
heard it, DJS 4-4-2? Write it down. All right.
Yeah, we're going full press. We're gonna run the Liverpool high line, quick defenders. No one's getting
Let's
in behind
go.
us.
I'm looking at the UI. Looks beautiful, by the way. I just checked it out. It looks freaking awesome. Do you like how far off do you guys think it'll be from actually watching some form of simulated gameplay? And has there been any like visual teasers of that?
Yeah, so for 2D, I think we have an idea how we would implement that technically, and we've built the new kind of version of the game engine so that in the future we can put 2D in. But it's going to be something that's done after launch, just because it is quite a big task and it would probably push launch back quite a fair bit. So yeah. I think some people do enjoy the text-based stuff. We can improve it a lot more. There'll be a lot more events, so you're not waiting perhaps like a minute or 2 minutes for an event to come through. So it should be a bit more engaging. We can add animations around goals and maybe even sound effects. So we can improve the text-based quite a lot. And I think it makes sense to do that because it's a bit of a low-hanging fruit before moving on to the full 2D simulation post-launch, and in the future, a 3D simulation.
Nice.
Sound effects for goals. We'll have to get that incorporated into our pregame here, Jigga.
Listen, I'm a big advocate for every time a goal is done, it should just be "How you doing?" every time. All right, but that's just me. All right, DJS, I know you had another question for him.
Yeah, quick question for us. So we have obviously Creettown. That's sort of our baby here in beta as well. We purchased recently a few feeder clubs, I believe in Division 7. How do you anticipate like loan market transfers working? Obviously, Ron doesn't seem to have too much impact now. It's rather useless, but obviously upon game launch, you're winning titles, getting promoted, you're getting, bigger batches there. Is it going to be sort of a like city football club type thing where you have a team, New York City FC, and you can bring them across to Man City, for instance, after, a couple years doing well, or how do you envision that looking?
Yeah, we do plan to have loans, hopefully in for launch. Not certain that it'll be in for launch, but especially if you have feeder clubs, I guess you could just do a kind of low fee transfer to the other club and transfer them back. But yeah, definitely loans, so you can kind of get those wonder kids coming through the academy that maybe just aren't good enough to play in your squad yet, and can loan them out in the lower divisions to get some more experience. And yeah, I think it's quite an interesting approach having the feeder clubs, because even though kind of players in the academy are going to be based around the kind of average rating that your academy should produce, there is going to be variance there. So you hopefully will get that 1 or 2 players each season that are really good and maybe even at a better level than your league. And then some of them around the same level for your league, and some of them on the lower end that can maybe do a job in the lower leagues, but not great for you right now. So I think it's definitely cool to see perhaps players going up the kind of family tree of the clubs and coming down the family tree to gain experience. Could be an interesting approach, but we also obviously want to make sure that it's not too unfair for people that don't have those multiple clubs and can do the kind of feeder situation. So that's why kind of having loans, I think, is a good approach, because it allows people to make loans to other clubs and not have to kind of give up the custody of that asset.
Cool. And can you guys talk about customizing logos? We obviously want to get Creettown with some sort of KOD on there. I'd seen some think about, winning the ability to go in and alter.
So we did an article about that a few weeks ago. It was something that we were kind of unsure about at the start, because obviously we've generated all these clubs, they've got their lore, they've got their badges, and we really like that people are like really taking it in. but we thought it'd be really cool if there was a way to upgrade your badges. So I don't know if you read the article, DGS, but it was basically there's 3 separate ways you can do it. One is a community award, which will be each season. So that's like outstanding achievements in the community, really well run socials, etc., all of that stuff. Another is getting to a cup final. So there's 5 cups in Footium. There'll be 4 at launch. So there's quite a few opportunities to get to a cup final each season, which is nice. And the last one is getting to Division 3. So if Crete are in Division 6, you've got a few promotions to go.
Battle, yeah.
but not so bad. And then, basically the person that designed all of our bespoke badges, which are Division 1 to 3, I don't know if you've seen them. They're a little bit different. And you work with him and he'll redesign your badge. So you could get the KOD on there. Yeah.
And the idea is that it still kind of has similarities. So obviously the Creettown badge will still have some castles, but maybe we can change the design of those, maybe add some like a motto around Knights of Degen, etc. So still keeping to the heritage of the club, as most real world football clubs do when they change their badge, but allowing you to get that sort of bespoke feel and maybe adding some ode to the owners or the community.
Nice. DJS with the hard-hitting questions.
I mean, look, Creettown is Creettown, but at the end of the day, it's our KOD team, you know?
Yeah. It's a very nice badge, though, Creettown.
That's it.
Yeah.
We got plans.
I think we've actually, Jacob, we've demonstrated across our FCF team, we were by far the most engaged community in FCF, and we managed the shit out of that team. I think we've been showing consistency that we are very good at managing these esports, play to earn, even pro sports teams. So, for me, this is just another great validation of our community and our ability. And I think this is going to be a big, in general, I think these digital sports are the future of metaverse gaming. I don't know if you guys have thought about it, George. Have you guys talked about if there'll be spreads and betting on teams and things of that nature? Where would odds come from? Because I can imagine, you have a certain Degen community that bets on anything from, from a simulated soccer game to whatever else.
Listen, right now on our Twitter spaces and our watch alongs, we're coming up with our own lines. And I mean, we're Degening the crap out of it. And we're like, all right.
Yeah. So with the kind of betting aspect, it's not something we plan to implement ourselves just because regulatory issues and it's a hard thing to do kind of in a fair manner. But Footium's, the kind of way we've built Footium is always to have open APIs and people can build on top of Footium, maybe even build fancy football games that use the data from, say, the Division 1 players and how they perform, scores you points. And it doesn't even have to be Web3 related. You can literally take that data that's happening in the game and plug that into your fancy football game. So if someone wanted to build a kind of betting platform using the Footium data, I'm sure that would be probably possible. But I guess there's always the aspect of if markets get that big, it might make sense to purposefully lose the match to kind of win money on the market. So it's probably a risky area to be betting on. But obviously it can be quite fun, especially with betting on JT's score.
Another quick question for you guys too. Obviously, you guys have your professional sponsorship. You're going to be appearing in FIFA. I think it's on the back of the shorts for Leighton. You guys have plans to, sort of partner. We've discussed this internally with our committee, maybe doing a joint giveaway of sorts to, help spread the Footium name amongst Knights holders and, maybe US NFT sports fans as a whole. And then likewise, I think mutually beneficial, we get our name out to, maybe an international fan base where, the UK people who are, at least somewhat comfortable with Web3, might be open to a joint venture where we give away, Knights NFTs, maybe a Footium team or two. Is there plans or, anything on the horizon as far as partnerships outside of just these professional teams, maybe with other like-minded communities or?
Yeah, definitely. We've done a few things with a couple of communities. You were actually in a league with another community ran club. I think they were Wobury Talk. Ludo Labs. So yeah, you beat they beat you to league, but no, that's fair. But yeah, no, I think it'd be awesome to do something like that, a collaboration between us two. We could give away a Div 8 club, and you could give away whatever. I think that'd be awesome.
Has Footium raised? I'm putting my investor hat on. Have you guys raised any capital? Is there is there anything on the financing side for the business? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we've done 2 fundraising rounds. The first one was in the middle of 2021, which is a small pre-seed led by the company I was working at the time. And then a seed round in January 2022, which is on our Medium or I guess if you just search Footium seed round, it should come up. And yeah, they're kind of fantastic fundraising rounds. Obviously, they're very stressful to get across the line, but I think we did, particularly with the seed round, a really good job. A good range of investors from Web3, Web2, gaming specialists, a few gaming guilds as well, and some really cool angel investors. Like one of them is Chris Smalling, who's an ex-England international and United playing in Roma. So getting people on board that have that sort of market and branding as well is super helpful, as well as the more strategic advisors who are helping with the running a company effectively, because it is a big challenge, but I think we're getting there, you know.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think we have a few professional players involved, right? Smalling, I think Sean Wright Phillips.
Yeah, Sean Wright Phillips, Chris Smalling. There's another one that just joined today, actually. I don't think we've told anyone about this, but Stephen Fletcher, he used to play in the Premier League. He's got like a mad amount of Premier League goals. And yeah, he organically had a Footium club, and we found that out, which is awesome.
That's so cool. So I want to ask you guys. Yeah, I'm telling you. Tweet going out now.
We actually share an investor. Anamoka is an investor in my fund and is an investor in Footium. So that's pretty cool.
Fantastic. Yeah, they're great.
Awesome.
So I'm sure, obviously, with all betas, you guys have had some ups and downs and stuff. Even this last week, right? This whole week where the day of the championship, final round of playoffs is going on, and the game's down, and like, what is that like for you guys? Is it everybody running, like the fire alarm being pulled? Are there soccer balls being thrown around? Like, how crazy is a night like that for you?
Yeah, I think me and Jordan's our co-founder and tech lead. We were about to go live for the football special, and yeah, the beta was down, and it's not the biggest issue because it's the beta, and they were working on that day the infrastructure for the database, because throughout the beta, the site's been slow at times. It's not been at the level we want it to be. So there's been a lot of work during the beta on the database, on the infrastructure. And sometimes when you work on the live infrastructure, that can cause issues when it comes to the games. And unfortunately, it happened on the last day of the season when Jordan was about to come live with us. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. We knew we had to get it fixed, and in the end, delaying it a day. We hope the Creettown fans weren't too disappointed with the postponement, but you got the win the next day.
Yeah, we appreciate the extra day of rest. I mean, we were okay with it. DJS, did you have another question for the guys?
Yeah, last one will be about Ron and sort of how you envision that will work, with transfers and things of that sort. I've seen, you guys alluded to your Medium posts, things of that sort. I think there's been a fair bit of info out there. But just as far as, like bidding structure, like for instance, will I be able to go to find like a center back who's 20 years old who I like and, submit bids? Or is it going to be a similar thing where, we're sort of trading with owners and, I'll give you these two players for these three and then, things of that sort. So just how the transfer market might work.
Yeah. So the idea behind the transfer market currently, this might change, but is to have kind of bidding in two tokens. So you could either bid in the Footium token or USDC, just because obviously the Footium token might be quite volatile. And if you list a player for 100 Footium tokens and then the Footium token price drops dramatically, someone could come and kind of buy that as a bargain. So we wanted to kind of hopefully give a better user experience on that side in allowing people to list in stable coins as well. But yeah, the idea is there's loads of filters. So you could say, I want a 20-year-old or under centre back that has at least 70 pace, and then create that search, see who's available, maybe one's up for sale, or you can start bidding on some. And then the managers will get a notification into their inbox saying that you've received this bid. Do you want to accept it or reject it? Maybe even a kind of counter bid offer to say like, I'll accept this much. So it's definitely something we're working on. The extent of which what will be in at launch is obviously it kind of moves as there's so much you can add to a transfer market, like being able to offer like multiple player plus token swaps for a player and the other way around. So there's a lot of kind of functionality you can add. So I think as a minimum, definitely having just that bidding on players or putting them up for sale for a certain price that other people can come and buy, but also in the future adding some more kind of cooler swaps you can do. But yeah, I think with the beta, because it's just the token has no value, that all the values in the players, as it's the kind of testnet token, has resulted in a lot of player for player swaps and multiple player for player swaps. But I imagine at launch it'll probably go more towards a sort of buying and selling players approach.
So Drew, how's our transfer kitty looking? Are we the Dodgers big budget team, or are we small market?
Oh, dude, I'm a Yankee fan. I was born and raised, and I grew up as a Yankee. So if I've learned any strategy, it means buy good players and create winners. That's the name of the game.
All right, look out. Write it down, guys.
Coach DJS, great job with the beta this season, man. You killed it. The Creettown community, I mean, we're having so much fun. Keep doing what you're doing. And I appreciate you stopping by and representing the committee, man. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
All right, guys. So before I let you go, there's a quick little segment I'm adding to Night Shift. All right.
Awesome.
And this is what I'm calling Jigga's hot button. All right. How you doing? That's hot. All right. So here's the things for Footium, obviously outside of the game itself and everything, the community. Here's 4 things that I was really excited about when I started looking into everything with Footium before we got into beta. Number 1, I loved the player trading where 5% of secondary sales transactions are going back into the prize pool. Is that something that's going to stay that way even at launch and everything? Is that where the prize money comes from, or is that on top of what the prizes are for the season?
Yeah, that's just one of the aspects of the prize pools, that secondary market. Some people might call it like an agent's fee or something, but yeah, if a player gets sold, 5% straight back into the prize pools for people to win.
Nice.
And
All right, George, I'll send this one to you. My second one was stadium improvements. Seems like you guys have a lot of plans with that. So I really can have my Shermanator bobblehead night, upgrade our hot dogs. I don't think the quality this last season was really great. It was kind of dog food like. What does the stadium improvements kind of look like?
Yeah, so initially the idea is at launch, you have obviously 4 stands around the stadium that will be kind of varied in size and material based on the your kind of club's capacity and the division you're in. And so the idea will be that you can upgrade them in size, which then gives your team a bit of a morale boost because you've got more fans in the stadium, as well as the material of that stand. And then in future, we want to be able to add optionality to change between like seating or terracing, having stuff around the stadium, like statues of the Shermanator. You could have your hot dog stand, you could have a club shop, and all of those different aspects. So it's one of those areas that we can take super far, and I'm quite excited for.
Nice. All right. So I'm going to throw this next one at you guys. How does the legendary player auctions actually work? Because I saw that as well, and that made the hot button list.
Definitely, yeah. I think it definitely something Creettown should look into for the first season. But the idea is that each season we generate 20 legendary players who are players that aren't necessarily amazing straight away, but they have really good potential as a player. So if you can manage them correctly, you can sort of give them enough game time against the right types of opponents, they don't get injured too much, you're not kind of draining them of fitness and morale, they can become the kind of superstars of Footium. So the idea is that each season a kind of auction goes on that people can bid for these players, and then whoever wins it gets that NFT.
Nice. All right. And then here's my final one on the hot list. All right. I could have gone with like 10 more, but I figured I can't keep you guys all day. Retired players can become coaches?
Yeah, this is something I love. I play a lot of Football Manager, and you get really attached to these players. Yeah. For example, if you got a legendary player, you played with him your whole career, and then at the end, it's just gone. You don't want that to happen. Oh, here we go. The Shermanator, exactly. So the Shermanator lives out his whole career. You don't want him to just go, do you? So if he can make a good coach, if he's had a good career, might have been a striker, you can bring him on, and he'll be a striker coach and he could improve the output of your academy strikers and also help them with training as well.
So how much do I need to get out of Drew right now to have you guys let us keep Shermanator forever? Like the fact that we're about to lose Shermanator. Oh man, it hurts.
Yeah, is he sad. Is he disappearing, or is he just we have to redraft him?
So correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but in the beta you get a whole new squad, right? Going into the next.
Yeah, I've been attached to a few players throughout this beta, and I've lost them. Joey Green was one. Victor Pace last season, unreal player. Hopefully, there'll be a Shermanator regen down the line.
Yeah, who knows? Could come back as a legend. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
you never know.
I like it. Well, guys, man, Knights of Degen, our community is super excited about everything that's going on with Footium. We're having so much fun with it, and we plan on continuing to put so much content around it. Not just our Twitter spaces and watch-alongs, but on our Friday night show on Tonight We Ride, we cover all the Footium with our interviews with the players. And we really appreciate you guys taking time to come on here and just shoot the crap with us a little bit and give us some of the insights. I'll end it on this, and I guess I'll start with you, George. If there's one thing you would tell people on why they need to get into Footium now before it launches, what would that reason be?
I think just the fact that everyone I know as a kid has kind of dreamed of either playing for or managing or owning a football club, and this is really the achievable chance to do that. There's not many people that end up being able to buy a real world football club, but this should hopefully give you the same experience and the same challenges and obstacles and rewards as a real world football club would.
How you doing? Good answer, Sam.
Very good. It's very good. I don't know if I can beat that answer. Literally, it's exactly what I tell everyone. The fact that you can own your own football club, and I just find it crazy that you could get fans for your own football club, create merch, you play these games, you're the manager, you're the owner, you're the scout. I just love it.
So, Drew, with you being my co-host, I still have a question for you, too, in regards to Footium. Are you okay if we're able to one day in the stadium make sure that we've got the red beard himself, Drew Austin, dead smack in the middle of the Creettown logo on the field?
I would hope that our sales team does a better job at selling a sponsor. If all else fails, we could use the red beard. But if hopefully we can bring a brand in and monetize that bad boy.
Awesome. Well, guys, I appreciate you making time. Everybody watching this episode right now, appreciate you guys tuning in. If you haven't checked it out yet, which you might not be a Knights of Degen if you don't know about Footium yet, all right? Because Creettown is Creettown. But if you haven't checked it out yet, go check out Footium. Go start the petition. We're going to start a hashtag of Lock Shermanator in forever. It's going to be all over Twitter with his new Twitter account. Guys, thank you so much for making an appearance on the night shift, and we can't wait to see what else is coming from Footium.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having us.
Cheers, guys.
Of course. Later, guys.